The GPS will never tell you wrong. You see, I am about to enter into Oldham County, outside of Louisville, Kentucky, on the 71 northbound. GPS will never tell you wrong, because 3 times now, the GPS told me to get off because there is a 15-minute slowdown right where I'm at. I said, nah, shouldn't be that bad. Got closer. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a breeze. I'm gonna just breeze right past this. Nope, dead wrong. Now look, stop and go. I don't know if it's because of construction or what, but again, this is outside of Louisville. Traffic, more traffic, and more traffic, as you see here. Martin Transport Systems, Grand Rapids, Michigan. There's their number if you want to sign on with them. I'm doing free advertisement for them. But, yep, we're stuck in traffic.
Tires for one. 60-80 on one. 60-80.
All right, YouTube, this is the weekly recap of my second week out here on the road. This is going to be for the week of March 16th through March 22nd. If you haven't already, please hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Just to do a recap of the first week, I ended up with over 2,100, almost 2,200 miles altogether. My line haul was about 1,950. I brought home about 1,170. You take off the $100 fuel advance and the necessary fees. That check should be around $800-900 bucks. I go by such a huge range that, if it's on the lesser end, that's okay. If it's on the higher end, it's okay. Because so many different things go into it, especially the first, week or two, maybe more, because you got fees coming out for orientation, you got fees coming out for the fleet owner. If I took out any fuel advances, which I don't use com data, but if I took out any of those, I got to factor those in. So my numbers might not be exact per se. The first week it was pretty exact for the most part. It was just a little discrepancy with that first load that dispatch sent me, and I went and I loaded it, and I was starting to head out to deliver it, just to find out wrong load, wrong place. So I might get paid for that as if I delivered it. I don't know. But for this week, which ends Monday, I've completed 6 trips with 1 pending for Monday. I've completed, like I said, I completed 6 trips. I got 1 pending for Monday. I've been to 7 places. I did 7 trips. I had a couple days where I had 2 of them in one day. I had a 22-mile load. That was the first one of the week that went from Louisville to Louisville. Went from one side of Louisville literally to the other side. Then I had another short one, like 68 miles. I believe that went from, I don't know what run that was, but yeah, it was a very, very short one. But yeah, I have, like I said, I had 6 stops, 1 pending. The first one was Louisville local, one side to the other. Then I went from Louisville to Monroe, Ohio. I went from Anna, Ohio to Bedford, Indiana. Flora, Illinois to Louisville, Kentucky. Then I picked up in Louisville, Kentucky, went to Bowling Green, Kentucky. Had a deadhead 3 hours to Paris, Tennessee. Went up to Livonia, Michigan, which I just dropped that off a couple hours ago. And then I got to pick up one Monday, leaving Battle Creek, coming back here to Toledo, Ohio. So, trip loaded miles, 1,432. This was definitely the week of deadhead miles. I had to deadhead a lot this week. A lot. Okay. 635 miles was deadhead. It was empty move. I was traveling 2-3 hours to pick up these things. Yeah, it was just a week of deadhead. For the total of 2,067 driven miles, give or take. My line haul for the week was $1,815 times my 60%, which I get that. Ended up being $1,089 what I take home. And then, of course, I took out $150 fuel advance. So you take that off of the $1,089. Then you take off the fees that I think is going to come out. My check will end up being about $800 to $850, which is pretty much on par with the first week. So I had to do some maintenance to the van. I had to get an oil change, which you see at the beginning of the video. I ended up going to Valvoline. Got that done. Ended up being like $100 with like a $15 off coupon. The good thing about them was I didn't even have to get out the van. I just stayed put. I also had to exchange my propane, my 20-pound propane thing out. Because last night I was on my way up to Toledo from Paris, Tennessee, which is just outside of Nashville a little bit. And the whole ride up, I said, oh, I'm going to stop at Pilot or somewhere because I have to exchange out my propane tank. So originally I was going to get a hotel for the night because I had already deadheaded like 200 plus miles to get this load, and I had to drive like 600 miles up. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be way ahead of schedule. I'm going to just chill out for the night. I was going to chill out at a hotel in Dayton. When I got to Dayton, I said, screw it. I'm just going to go all the way to Toledo. I passed it up. So I get about maybe 20 miles outside of Toledo. Like, I'm starting to see signs of places that I actually remember because I used to live in Toledo. So I'm like, cool. I'm about to be at boat. I'm going to be good. I'm going to get out, use the bathroom, come back in, go to sleep. Also, I have to stop at Pilot. Got about 20 miles in, and then I realized that I'm not going to be able to switch out my propane tank because of the fact that the 2 pallets I had was blocking not only the heater, but it was blocking my access to the propane tank. So, needless to say, I had to sleep in the van with no heat. That wasn't good. I fell asleep with the van warm, and I woke up, it was 24 degrees and it was ice cold. So I ended up going in the driver's lounge. I ended up falling asleep there for a little bit, and then woke up with the Golden Corral for breakfast, as I do, seem like every Saturday. And then that was that. But I delivered a lot of loads in Louisville this week. I was a Louisville slugger, I guess you could say, because 5 of my 14 stops was in Louisville, Kentucky. I had, like I said, a local run. I picked up in Louisville. I dropped off in Louisville. I picked up in Louisville. I mean, I was in Louisville, it seemed like all week long. Now, freight must be hot in Louisville. I want to think that because I couldn't get out of Louisville to save my life. It seemed like as soon as I got out, they gave me a load that went right back. I was deadhead somewhere. Nope, go back to Louisville. I left Tennessee, the run I had going to Bowling Green, Kentucky. I dropped that off. They headed closer to Louisville because I wanted to be closer to Louisville than Nashville because, in my experience, the load board for Louisville is better than that of Nashville. So I did head closer to Louisville, and of course I had to go back to Paris, Tennessee to pick up that load. That's where that 200-mile Deadhead came from. As compared to if I would have stayed in Bowling Green, Kentucky, I'd have been a lot closer. But I mean, you know, it's a gamble with being in Expedited. You win some, you lose some. The week started off kind of iffy because I'm like, man, I got a 22-mile run. But every time I kept getting those short runs, I noticed I was getting 2 of them in a day. So that boosted me up a lot. I had 7 loads for the week. My line haul is pretty much in par with the first week. If not, it's a little bit more. It's definitely money to be made out here in expediting. You just have to know your freight lanes. You know, you have to know where your freight is hot. You know, be smart about it. I have the power to tell dispatch where I want to go. You know, I think that was the huge mistake between the first time and this time. First time I was going anywhere, and I found myself in places that I know now I can't get out of fast enough. You know, I ended up in, you know, places like Birmingham and, you know, places like that where I would sit 2-3 days. You know, I couldn't do that. I mean, going to Laredo is one thing. You might sit a couple days, that's fine. But you're going somewhere like Alabama, Mississippi, you're going to be sitting for a while. And so now I have the power to tell dispatch that, hey, I only want to work the core area. I want to work the core area, and I am willing to go to Texas. But if it's anything outside of that core or Texas, I don't want it. I don't want it because I don't want to get stuck down there. I took a gamble the first week and went to New Jersey, knowing that I could get stuck out there. But luckily, the very next day, I ended up getting back out of there, going back to Indiana. So that worked out good, but that could have easily been very bad, very quick. But yeah, you got to know your freight lanes. You have to know what's hot and what's not. I realized Louisville was hot that week. So I made sure wherever I went, I deadheaded back to where I could be close enough to be on Louisville's board. You know, I made sure of that because I knew I was going to get a run out of there. Short runs pay good. That 22-mile run with the 68-mile Deadhead ended up paying me $150. You know, those short runs pay well over $1 a mile, and they add up. You know, whenever I was getting those short runs, I was getting 2 of them in a day. So I was making $250, $300 in a day. You know, just by doing them little short runs, they add up. They could give me 2 short runs every day, and I would be just fine with that. Because if I get 2 runs in one day and make $300 each day for, let's say, 5-6 days out of the week, come on now. That's just the same as doing 3 long runs for the week. You know, so I'm starting to have a rhythm going. You know, I'm not taking out fuel advances unless I absolutely need it. The only time I really take out a fuel advance is when I have a longer haul to do. If it's a short 150-mile run, I'm not taking out no fuel advance just simply because I have the money to pay for it. But if it's anything like a 600-mile run where it's going to cost me maybe $150 or so in fuel, then I'll request that fuel advance, which ends up being about once a week. So, and if it's twice a week, it's twice a week. But, you know, usually it's only about once a week. But I just wanted to give you guys a quick update for the week. Again, the line haul was $1,815 out of 2,067 miles. I brought home $1,089, you know, minus the fuel advance and, of course, any associated fees. My check should be about $850, which I don't get the check for this week until the first Friday in April. So we're a little bit behind, but that would do it for this video. This is the Great Simulator. If you haven't already, again, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, and until next time, take care.